So I don't know if it's still recording because the light changed. Let's see. Oh, it's such a comfortable place to sit here, people. Are you enjoying sitting with me here outside and chit-chatting? Even Maddie went back inside because it's a bit too hot. It's getting warmer in Dubai. I feel like the winter is over. The spring is starting. And like in life, spring brings love, birdies, joy, all the good stuff. I mean, every evolution, every season brings its own sort of, winter was much more cocooning, getting inwards, like being like much more into your own thoughts and your own digestion of, you know, rebirth. And then I feel spring is always a rebirth. Every year, spring for me, I feel it's always feels like a rebirth. To be honest, every day these days after the awakening feels like rebirth because every day is less pattern I follow and as more inspiration and joy I follow, as more I become not only the better version of myself, but also just like the free being that I am, without pressure, yeah, without, without the worries of others, I think as a humans, when we get connected to others, we take on so much, which is very sweet, but it's so unnecessary. I used to be a person that takes on so much from others, and clearly it also helped me a lot in my speeding up of my evolution process. But at the same time, it was really heavy at times. And yeah, it's also important to recognize how much work is also just being a good friend or being a good daughter or being a good partner or being even a good ex-partner, because even going through a detachment phase with people, even that is so vital to be so mindful, so accurate about it, so in tuned. And that takes a lot. And I understand that some people handle certain situations differently than I do. I do understand that I have very high standards for myself and for people and humanity in general, but that's just who I am. The universe designed me that way. That's not even ego, that's just really my internal conviction of truth, of love seeking and truth seeking to the ultimate zenith. And it's true, and some people just don't seek it, and it's totally fine. It's just hard to relate to people that don't believe in the highest form of goodness. Because, like, goodness is already amazing, but of course, like, I'm an extremist, so let's climb the mountain to the zenith. Let's go to the maximum goodness of goodness. And doesn't mean that I'm always good, but it means that that's my devotion, that's my aspiration. Because some people have aspiration. Don't get me wrong, being a billionaire is not nothing wrong with it. I would love to be a billionaire, no problem with that. But like the goodness has to be at first for me. Like it has to come from a place of goodness first. Not only because I learned my lesson and I know that if it doesn't come from a place of goodness, then it comes with lots of pressure. And because I don't do pressure, it has to come from a place of goodness and readiness and divine timing. So yeah, I'm so pleased to understand my values now and understand my priorities now. I was so confused for so long, and confusion can still happen because confusion is also a process of evolution. But before there was just a massive confusion overall. Now the confusion only comes with new things like new job, new recording on social media, new things, new experiments come always with the cycle of temporary confusion, because that's where the mind reorganizes something new and accepts that life just now wants to go in a different direction without knowing anything where it's actually going. And it always turns out amazing and always turns out better than you thought it would be. How great is that, to be honest? Such a deep realization that no matter what I start in life, if I have from the beginning joy and just like inspiration to do so, it will always lead me to a much better ending than I was even thinking of. Like anything that was really heartfelt will always end up tenfold, hundredfold better than even I expected or the mind could imagine. And that's why it's so vital to understand my belief system, for example. I had to understand that not I'm the only creator or manifester and not just God, because that becomes also a little bit like, oh, I'm giving it all to God. Now I'm completely um, not taking any control about changing my life or being responsible for my behavior or pattern or thinking pattern or feeling pattern. So that would be also lack of responsibility. So if someone just wants to give it all up to God, I believe there is a mutual respect with God. It's a game of or play of, okay, God, I know you, or universe, I know you want me to go in certain direction. I know you want to guide my whole life, but I also now know how I can take care of my mental state, of my nervous system, of my being, well being, of my body, what I put into my body, that I'm sober, that I don't use any enhancers that are artificial. Yes, maybe coffee, it's fine. Natural, hey, it's from the beans. No, no, but I don't even believe in natural enhancers in different ways. Let's put it that way. Um, So yeah, who knows? Maybe that can change. I discovered before that I have hypocritical ways, so anything can be hypocritical at one point. So you never know. But for now, I believe that there is already so much joy in our life if we discover it, if we figure it out by putting everything that is not joy aside. To be joyous is not to only do things that make you happy. Yes, it's also correct, but it's actually to understand things first that everything can make you happy if you know how to approach it. Like if you have the right mindset, I believe. Literally anything that is like common in the world. I'm not talking about bad things, right? I'm talking about like work or anything. If you can reach a point that even if a job, for example, that you usually wouldn't do gives you joy, that's where you know you found it. That's, for example, being in front of a camera, blogging, talking, that was never something that was the worst that I could have done. Honestly, every time at work we had to do some social media stuff or any recording, I would be dreaded with anxiety and disgust that that's the last thing I want to do, be something on social media. Because the fear of camera and being awkward and being not perfect and being whatever, like, and being hold on to some standards that can't even, perform to. Like something like, oh my God, if in 10 years someone looks back and I said something that maybe I don't anymore stand for, that's actually bizarre because that's what I truly thought of. That was holding me back. And now that I'm actually enjoying the process, you see how certain things can go from a total, like, this is so horrible to, oh my God, this is so enjoyable. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. That's why I'm always saying, like, just do it first for a few months and then see if you actually truly like it. You can only say something if it's for you or not, if you actually experience it. And if you can find joy and then still consider that, oh, let me find joy in a different place, then fair enough. But, you know, no matter what, any job position, you have to have the joy there, and then you can always be like, oh, but I feel like somewhere else is a little bit more joy. Let's change. But you can't be like, I hate this, but now let's go to joy. That's just impossible. You have to first find the joy in everything, and then you can easily shift to another joy that you just enjoy a little bit more. Little bit morning wisdom here from my balcony. Someone is using a chainsaw in the background, trimming the trees, so I don't know if it's noisy or not, but I hope you enjoyed my morning session. Lots of love. Kisses. Bye.